Mayfield threw a career-high 5 touchdown passes, but yesterday was totally different. Baker's Browns scored just 6 points, and he threw for only 122 yards and a home loss to the Raiders. Cleveland is still over 500 this year, but Baker said this team is not satisfied with that. Y'all take a listen.
Not anywhere close to where we want to be. We have a 5-3 record. Should be a lot better, and we believe that, and that's why our locker room is pissed off. So we believe in this locker room, and we're going to continue to get better, and hopefully go on a streak right after this bye week. Like I said, get healthy and focus on getting better. We know what we can improve, and after we watch this film, we'll do that even more so.
Bucky's back with us, but Marcellus, you talk to me. Can Baker still prove that he's a franchise quarterback this season?
Nope. He cannot, because the best indicator of his future behavior is his past behavior.
Talk about it.
And I'm going to date myself for you, Acho, but probably not Bucky up here. There was a song growing up that used to say, curiosity, I want to know. Well, you know what? No one's curious about who you are, Baker Mayfield, because they know who you are. Inconsistency. That's who Baker Mayfield is. This is the same dude that last week won Offensive Player of the Week. And how does he come to support that Offensive Player of the Week in his next performance? Oh, just another game where he throws under 50% of his passes. His 4th game completing fewer than 50% of his passes since 2019, which makes that the most in the NFL. And worse than Baker Mayfield, who I thought was going to play better without OBJ. Remember all y'all out there tweeting that, talking that, thinking that? Oh, he's going to be better without OBJ because now he doesn't have to force it to him. You know what's happening now? Because there's no one to take the top off this defense and not enough speed on the perimeter. Now they're crowding them, and they didn't run the ball as effectively as they had in weeks past. So now an offense that looks at its quarterback as being inconsistent and pretty much below average is now looking at his unit as regressing. Last year, this offensive unit, with all its issues, was ranked 22nd. This year, 27th ranked. And that's after taking care of Baker Mayfield, shoring up the offensive line, making sure you have all the weapons. Pro Bowlers at wide receiver, tight end, running backs. You got all that you need. And Baker Mayfield is going the wrong way. So looking at Baker Mayfield going forward, he's only going to prove one more thing to me, how inconsistent he can be.
I respect that, big dog. Baker is not going to prove that he's a franchise quarterback this season, and he cannot. Again, it's very simple. Baker Mayfield is not bad enough to get benched, but he's not good enough to put the Browns where they need to be. I'm going to be sick. As someone who was drafted by the Browns and wishes well on the Browns, I will be sick if the Browns go 9-7 and don't make the playoffs. Because this is a playoff-talented team that is being limited and inhibited by Baker Mayfield. Baker, he balls once, but can we see you do it again? Yeah. I got this full screen just to put this in context for y'all. Bengals or bust. Look at Baker Mayfield against the Bengals, 5-1. 17-7 passing touchdowns, interceptions, completion percentage, etc. But the very next game,
what happened?
He's 1-4, 8 touchdowns to 7 picks, falls in every statistical category. Baker, we can no longer continue to watch you play well at times, but then struggle the other times. I look at it like this, Sel, and you'll know this better than I. Early on in Baker Mayfield's career, we applauded him for doing some things, like you do with a toddler when they first learn how to walk. It's like, oh, you can walk now. That's so cute.
Yeah, right.
But by the time you're about 3 or 4, falling down isn't cute anymore. We want to see you walk, and hopefully you can start to run sooner or later.
Right.
Baker Mayfield, by the time you're in year 3, throwing several picks and losing games, 122 yards, it's not cute anymore. You know, your rookie year winning 6 games for the Browns, 64% completion percentage, kudos to you. But as you get older, like with a child, the bar gets raised. We're not going to applaud you for walking. We're not even going to applaud you for jogging. It's time to see you sprint, Baker Mayfield.
You know, Acho, you bring up a good point. Both of you guys bring up good points, because Baker Mayfield was drafted #1 overall. Like, let's let marinate for a minute. When you're drafted #1 overall, you're a guy that we're supposed to have visions of seeing you wear a gold jacket at some point of your career. At the end of your career, we should celebrate you as one of the best to ever do it. And in my experience, when I look at quarterbacks, they come in 2 categories. They're trucks or they're trailers. Either they're trucks where they carry the squad, or they're trailers, the squad carries them. And even though he's a #1 overall pick, I think we can go and look at the Browns and say that he is a high-end trailer. He is something that has to have everything around him set up for him And even then, it may not go his way. Because when I look at this Browns team, the Browns have given him everything. A-plus skill set at wide receiver, A-plus running game, a new fortified offensive line. And yet here we are looking at Baker Mayfield, 25th in passer rating, 26th in completion percentage, 25th in yards per attempt, and 29th in passing yards per game. At some point, we got to call a spade what a spade is. And he is not a franchise quarterback, and the Cleveland Browns need to go back and do some more shopping.
Yeah, they're in an impossible situation, and they know it. And Kevin Stefanski, I'm certain that he's not going to go out on the Baker Mayfield sword. Sooner or later, he's going to make it known that he has to separate himself from what Baker Mayfield is doing inconsistently on the football field. Baker Mayfield being the #1 overall pick, no way should this franchise be in a place where they have to cover up for your issues, cover up for your mistakes. But they are, and they're in a situation where they have to make excuses for you just to allow you the opportunities to play yourself into good graces and hopefully live up to the #1 overall pick billing. But that's not happening. Not happening when your passer rating is 25th, not happening when your completion percentage is 26th, and it's not happening when your passing yards per game is 29th. So Baker Mayfield, despite having lipstick on this pig, the best dress you could ever put on Baker Mayfield's game, is still not looking good. So what's next for them? They're not going to pick up your 5th-year option. They're going to look at you and say you're on a prove-it deal situation next year. And I think even in success, there's enough of the resume of inconsistency where you wouldn't even believe in that. And that's an ugly place to be when you're a low-end starter or maybe a high-end backup, because then what's your worth and value to other franchises?
Sal, you said what's next, and I'll tell you what's next, because I'm starting to have a little deja vu, as if we've seen this Baker Mayfield story play out before in the likes of one Jameis Winston. Nearly identical stats. They both, through their first 38 games, 17 wins, well, through the first 37-38. Passing touchdowns, 60 for Jameis, 64 for Baker. Giveaways, 47-46. Completion percentage, nearly identical. Passer rating, absolutely identical. Where does Jameis Winston find himself now? Well, that's where Baker will probably find himself soon enough. Coming up in our big story, the Cowboys have lost 3 straight. And the trade deadline is tomorrow. Jerry Jones, what you gonna do? I'm gonna tell you what it all means for Dallas. That's next. Speak for yourself.